This is CBC Vancouver News.
Community's really coming together, and they've been a great support for us during this difficult time.
More evacuation orders are lifted in the Okanagan. Those allowed to return home, including firefighters who dedicated their time on the front lines and are now left with a heartbreaking reality. There's new wildfire concerns in BC's northwest as a growing wildfire creeps closer to a nearby First Nation.
Be able to help rebuild and create more memories to go back to and create more memories.
In the wake of the devastating wildfires in Maui, people in BC are doing what they can to help. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Janella Hamilton. The wildfire situation across BC continues to be top of mind for many. Right now, about a dozen fires in the province are threatening public safety. In the central Okanagan, some good news. Several evacuation orders have been downgraded to alerts, and today planned burning took place to try and control the McDougall Creek wildfire near West Kelowna. Many evacuees in the interior were also allowed to back home this weekend. As Yvette Bren shows us, even firefighters are coming home to a heartbreaking reality.
This was our garden.
Scotch Creek firefighter Darren Mitchell looks at what's left of his family home.
How's that make?
It took him a few tries to visit his property without crying.
Chicken house burned. That one didn't.
These people have lost everything. They were scattered. It was an incredibly chaotic time, but the second they had a chance, they were back here trying to help their community whatever way they could.
21 firefighters in BC's southern interior have lost their homes, including 9 in the Shuswap.
But you were basically taking a water pistol and shooting it into a fire tornado. There's just not much you could do.
The fight against the McDougall Creek fire near West Kelowna is still fierce. The hope is rain will now help cool the situation.
Unfortunately, the precipitation that we're likely to receive over the next few days isn't going to be a miracle cure to end the fire season and put a stop on those fires that we do have out there. However, it will help our crews when we receive it.
People who fled with just a few belongings, sometimes just the clothes they were wearing, are now heading home.
We're safe, we're through it, and like I said, very relieved, especially driving in, seeing all the burnt trees and grass and, how close it came to this little pocket.
This Kelowna family feels lucky after returning from nearby Vernon.
I was really excited to see the beautiful lake again. I'm gonna go in the water. I'm really excited for that. You don't want to just be on your phone all day. Look at the beautiful world.
Thankful messages fill this board outside this West Kelowna fire hall.
The community's really coming together, and they've been a great support for us during this difficult time.
Captain Bob Peters says it helps almost as much as the promise of rain. Yvette Bren, CBC News, Vancouver.
And in the North Shuswap region, stable weather conditions are helping in the fight against the Bush Creek East wildfire that continues to burn around Shuswap Lake. Officials say there has been no significant growth over the last few days, and the fire is about 43,000 hectares in size, but that could change in the coming days.
One more day of really warm conditions. Tuesday will be a change. That will include some chance of wind. Wednesday and beyond should be cooler and a little more seasonal, and we're feeling a little more certain that we will get some precipitation on this fire Tuesday, which would be great news. It helps us to continue to reevaluate those evacuation order and alerts areas, make the recommendations around fire safety to the regional district, and work as hard as we can to try to get people back into their homes.
Evacuation orders have been lifted for the town of Sorrento, but officials say residents should still be prepared to leave at a moment's notice. And while hundreds of homeowners in the Columbia Shuswap district have now been allowed to return to their properties, many are still without power. Food in people's refrigerators is starting to rot, and that's attracting wildlife.
We've placed garbage bins at Scotch Creek Market, Celesta Fire Hall, and the Ross Creek store to facilitate the removal of that. We also have a larger plan going into next week to help the residents get that rotting food out of there.
Officials are reminding the public the fires in the area are not out yet, and thousands of people remain under evacuation orders and alerts. There's new wildfire concerns in BC's northwest. The growing John Brown Creek fire has prompted an evacuation alert for the village of Whitsett. The fire has been smoldering for the past month, but now with the warmer temperatures, the flames are creeping closer to the village, which is home to about 1,700 residents. Additional resources have been brought in, including heavy machinery and helicopters. Whitsett First Nation says residents should download the Voyant Alert app and monitor their website for the latest. In the wake of the devastating Lahaina wildfires on the island of Maui, a Richmond eatery was the scene of a colorful fundraiser today in support of those impacted. As Yasmin Khanea reports, the event featured hula dancing and traditional Hawaiian food, all for a good cause.
A tribute to Lahaina, a community ravaged by wildfire.
We're here today to help raise awareness and funds for Maui and for Lahaina town particularly. This is a devastation as no one has seen before.
Fires swept through historic Lahaina earlier this month, killing at least 115 people and destroying hundreds of homes and businesses. It's the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than a century.
There's no words. We've all seen the images. It's gone. It's obliterated. It's just the worst. It's the worst feeling.
Here in BC, people are trying to help through hula.
You want to do something. You want to do anything you can do. And even just being here, being together, it's going to create a wave that's going to ripple across, and they will feel it. I know it. I just know it.
Sunday's fundraiser featuring 16 performances with dances from Hawaii and other Polynesian islands. The event was held at a new Hawaiian grill in Richmond, which is donating 20% of its proceeds to the Maui Strong Fund, as well as 2 weeks' worth of tips.
The tip jar from August the 16th to now, I think, has cash is over 480, and today like hundreds of dollars are going in there today.
The restaurant was packed with people enjoying traditional Hawaiian food, all for a good cause.
They're able to help rebuild and create more memories to go back to, and create more memories of a new rebuilt Lahaina will be nice.
British Columbians doing what they can to help from far away. Yasmin Khanea, CBC News, Richmond.
The Tour de Cure was cut short today because of heavy smoke and poor air quality in the Fraser Valley. Today was the final day of the event. Riders had already completed 170 kilometers when the dense smoke ended the race. Despite this, the 1,500 cyclists managed to raise $7.1 million for cancer research and to help make cancer treatments more accessible to people across the province. All right, it is time now to take a look at your forecast. Let's begin with a reminder that there is an air quality advisory in effect for Metro Vancouver and much of the province because of that wildfire smoke. Let's begin with the current temperatures around the regions right now. 21 in Terrace, a bit cooler in Bella Coola, 19 in Whistler. We're sitting about 19 here in Vancouver as well, and a little bit warmer in Abbotsford at 20 degrees. Taking a look at tomorrow's forecasts. Dease Lake, 27 degrees. Terrace, much warmer with 32 degrees. And over in Prince George, 30 degrees for tomorrow. Tofino is going to see a little bit of precipitation with 17 degrees as your high for tomorrow. A little warmer in Victoria with 20 degrees, but again with that precipitation. And here in Metro Vancouver, it's going to be 23 degrees tomorrow with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, moving into more precipitation with a high of 18 degrees on Tuesday, and Wednesday a high of 21. A 57-year-old man was found dead this morning, and now IHIT is investigating. Surrey RCMP say they received a call from the fire department regarding the sudden death of a man inside a home near 191st Street and 68th Avenue in the East Clayton neighborhood. A 42-year-old man was arrested at the scene. IHIT is now investigating the death and is asking anyone with information to come forward. In the ongoing saga of BC Ferries cancellations and delays this summer, a number of routes were once again impacted today. BC Ferries says due to staffing shortages, the Saanich Heron between Tsawwassen and the southern Gulf Islands saw a number of cancellations throughout the day. Hornby and Denman Island also experienced significant delays due to a health emergency on board the ferry. Temporary foreign workers are taking a unique approach in their campaign for rights in BC. This morning, the group dressed up as various fruits and vegetables they produce and rode their bikes through downtown Vancouver. As Yasmin Gandam reports, the workers say they are fighting to be seen and heard.
My worker right! My worker right!
Everything from tomatoes, carrots, grapes, and other fruits and vegetables adorned on the backs of foreign workers from Mexico, Guatemala, and the Philippines as they demand to be seen.
We remain invisible. Nobody sees us. So they say, how about to bring all the vegetables and fruit that we produce into the street, and then they will see us.
The ride, organized by members of Dignidad Migrante Society, is designed to voice their demands to federal and provincial governments, asking for an open work permit for all temporary foreign workers and a path to regularize undocumented workers.
Sometimes when you are a migrant, it's a little bit difficult just to, in many ways, it's complicated. You miss your family, you miss your food, you miss everything, you know. And you're living that in your country because you're trying just to find better conditions where to have like a little bit extra money just to send to your family and support your family.
The idea to highlight the critical role they played during the pandemic to keep services for Canadians functioning and to be seen as superheroes.
We always want to be a community, you know, so help each other and being together, helping, so it's amazing being here.
Other concerns include better housing and working conditions as well as healthcare benefits.
Breaks, sick days, if they respect our sick days, vacations, medical services. When we go to the medical services, sometimes they don't want just to treat us like a humans.
In addition to the ride, 1,000 members of the society provided a list of amendments for current legislations and policies to the provincial and federal government. They hope by raising awareness on this important issue and pedaling forward, they can finally be seen as equal. We reached out to the ministry for comment but did not hear back in time for broadcast. Yasmin Gandam, CBC News, Vancouver.
Today, athletes from across BC and beyond gathered in honor of a Canadian downhill racing legend who grew up biking on Vancouver Island. Steve Smith died at the young age of 26 following an enduro motorcycle accident. Claire Palmer has more on how he's now being remembered.
It's been 7 years since the passing of Steve Smith, who went by Stevie, a racing icon and inspiration to so many Canadian mountain bikers, both young and old.
Stevie Smith is a really iconic downhill racer, so it's super cool to be racing in his honor in this sick track.
I think it's really cool to have my first few races in the memorial of Stevie Smith, and I'm excited to race it.
In honor of Stevie, riders took on the challenging Monster Mile at Mount Washington, fueled by the legacy of their personal hero.
Stevie, he's my hero, and he definitely inspires other Canadian riders.
A portion of the proceeds from the 7th annual memorial race goes to the Stevie Smith Legacy Foundation, a charity dedicated to mentoring Canada's next generation of elite gravity athletes. The event is also a BC Cup event, a part of a series of races where athletes compete for the BC Cup.
Whether it's bikes or skateboards, it's just kids out there, outside, not inside gaming. And that's what kind of Steve wanted. You know, he wasn't a gaming kid. He was an outside kid. And that's what he wanted to instill in others if he could.
Stevie was born in Cassidy, a central Vancouver Island community near Nanaimo. Throughout his career, he showcased his talents at events all over the world and is considered one of the greatest Canadian racers. He was the first Canadian to win an overall downhill World Cup. He died in 2016 at the young age of 26 in an enduro motorcycle accident.
I think Stevie's legacy really carries through the hearts of all the mountain bike community and will continue for many years to come.
His mom says events like this and Nanaimo Steve Smith Bike Park help carry on his passion for growing the sport.
Some days it's very emotional because in all those kids I see Steve, and I want them to know that they can do it too. That's what they really want. And yeah, I just see a lot of little Steves out there and it makes me happy.
Claire Palmer, CBC News, Mount Washington.
A cougar attack in Saanich has left a family shaken.
I was screaming, "Poppy, Poppy, Poppy," and I was terrified because it sounded like she was being attacked or mutilated. I didn't know.
Poppy's owner managed to scare the cougar off by shaking a branch at it. They rushed the dog to the vet, who was treated for puncture wounds, scratches, and an injured leg. Saanich police say they've received reports of an unconfirmed cougar attack and have notified conservation officers. The family is frustrated the information has not been widely shared with the public. Coming up, we'll get a look at the destruction of the town of Enterprise in the Northwest Territories, left in the wake of a wildfire that ripped through the town earlier this month. Late this week, stunning images emerged from the small Northwest Territories town of Enterprise, decimated by wildfire. With a closer look, the CBC's Juanita Taylor brings us this report.
This property was the Poiriers.
Enterprise Mayor Mike St. Amour knows where everybody lives in his town.
This is the Flaman residence.
There were about 50 homes in this hamlet, but where houses and businesses once stood, now piles of ashes.
This is a hotel, motel that used to be there, Gateway Gas Motel. They had just finished renovating.
Mangled metal litters the ground, and trees that once surrounded the property charred. St. Amour says he personally delivered the news to 30 families.
The roughest day I had was calling the people, telling them that they'd lost everything. That was the hardest day of my life. Still hurts.
St. Amour is one of the lucky ones.
That on the corner is my residence.
His is one of about a dozen homes still standing after a ferocious wildfire tore through Enterprise on August 13th.
All we could see is a big plume of smoke. I'll give you pictures of it, and it was coming this way.
It's Grandma and Papa's house.
Natasha Cleary, a mom of 6, left as soon as the alert came on her phone. The fire destroyed her home.
It was very emotional. We both broke down and we cried, and I mean, the kids don't quite understand, but they felt it.
Across the Decho Bridge, Cleary's mother is also taking refuge after losing her home.
The reality is we lost 17 years of our life in that house and our memories.
It just moved at an unbelievable pace.
Fire officials say winds reached up to 80 kilometers that day.
That was one of the craziest days that I've ever seen or even heard of in terms of fire management in the Northwest Territories.
The situation so dangerous, fire crews had to be pulled out. St. Amour says his hamlet has been handling the aftermath on its own.
Step up. Quit talking and start doing. People's lives here.
He wants more support for his residents scattered across Alberta to help get by until they can return home.
We're going to try and get them here before the snow falls. With help or not, we're going to rebuild.
This is a really powerful fire that's been burning since the beginning of August. And since then, it's attacked highways, communications infrastructure, and homes. Now, as it approaches Hay Rivers Airport, the Coast Guard is on standby to get anyone left in the community out by water if necessary. Juanita Taylor, CBC News, Edmonton.
Here we have a live shot of Harbour Centre. Coming up, we'll learn more about communities coming together for a day of fun and celebration at Vancouver's iconic Punjabi Market. We'll be right back.
Land Back is a CBC original podcast where we uncover land theft in Canada and look at how Indigenous people are taking it all back. Land Back is out now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hundreds of people gathered in Kamloops today to attend the Pride Parade in celebration of the local LGBTQ+ community. The festival included a march through the city's downtown as well as music and drag performances on stage at the Riverside Park.
I feel amazing and really excited. Everybody you walk by, it just had everybody's happy. Like, it was amazing. If everyone could be this happy all the time, it would be perfect. It would be life-changing.
The event wrapped up a week of Pride events in the city, which included movie nights, a youth dance performance, and a variety show. The Sunset neighborhood in South Vancouver was packed with South Asian vendors today.
South Vancouver, I feel like, is starved for community events, and no better place than the Punjabi Market to have all of South Vancouver to enjoy a good Sunday, in the summer.
The Punjabi Market was a car-free day on Main Street between 48th and 51st, celebrating culture with henna, murals, traditional food, and musicians from around the world. The market aims to celebrate the rich history of the neighborhood, which has been a cultural hub for South Asians in Vancouver since the 1970s. Hundreds of dog owners gathered with their furry friends to celebrate International Dog Day and raise money for a good cause.
Are you guys ready? So dogs, are you ready? In 3.
Yaletown let the dogs out Sunday. Canines of all breeds, shapes, and sizes attended Petapalooza. It's a fundraiser for the Just Love Animals Society, a nonprofit aimed at educating dog owners and fostering community. Dogs enjoyed free treats, dog yoga, dog races, and a 50-foot-long pool to cool down in. That is your late news for this Sunday. Thank you so much for watching. For news at any hour, you can always head to our website, cbc.ca/bc. Have a great night.